Greetings, welcome, bienvenidos. Welcome to the Philosopher's Transpad, where the secret password is contemplation. Today we want to talk about everybody's favorite topic, so I hear. And that favorite topic is secret societies and think tanks. But of course. But first, let us take a moment and collect our thoughts and ask for guidance as well. Okay, we're all set. So before we get into it, I realized just recently I should have bought a non-reflective frame glass set up here, the lights and all. But I'm learning as I go along here. So one day I'll be at a much better level of presentation. Before we get into secret societies and think tanks, let me give a shout out to the map maker, Dylan Lewis Monroe, and his website, the Deep State Mapping Project, which I will link as usual in the description box. He's got all kinds of neat things there, including this creation, but this comes in smaller sizes too. It comes as a $15 download version as well, smaller size. He does have some free downloads there, so check those out. Those may interest you. He has other maps of other themes, so to speak, that are free. So, and other goodies too regarding health and well-being. It's not just a bunch of maps that he's created. Second thing is, I've been posting in the previous two World Hierarchy Pyramid videos, and will in this one, and will in the remaining 2 or 3, whatever's left in the series. I'm posting the Plandemic 3, the Great Awakening link to watch this wonderful presentation, documentary that was just released 2 or 3 weeks ago by the great Mickey Willis, filmmaker, a documentarian. That reveals so much, fills in the blanks of so much of what is going on in our present day, where we're seeing the transformation, transmutation / crumbling, destruction, implosion before our very eyes of our world here, the various institutions. But remember, something new must be born. Something new and wonderful. Let's keep that in mind. Let's not give in to the fear propaganda and say, we're effed. Nothing we can do. No, don't go there. Keep that aside, away, at a distance. Send that thought to divine source for healing. And there'll be other links I'll post in the description box of today's video that will be related, these other links, to secret societies and think tanks. So, with that in mind, let me fast forward a little bit to up here. The angelic realm, and then even approaching the Godhead realm, as I read out before. The Creator, God, Yahweh, Adonai, Elohim, Brahma, Aton, Lord, Father, Jehovah, Allah, Ahura Mazda. I'm not familiar with Ahura Mazda. I've got to look that up. But I want to add something very quick. And the reason I'm bringing this very topmost level up, because although he has, Dylan the Mapmaker, he has a reference to Eastern thought and philosophy and spirituality with Brahma, right? Brahma, the four-headed secondary creator of the material world, according to one school of thought, which I subscribe to, by the way. I want to add another element, because if you remember, in the very first introduction part, he said, Dylan the Mapmaker, that we could plug in Eastern thoughts and philosophies and come up with a similar or comparable layout. So by Eastern, he's talking about, Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, that's more Middle East, and philosophies and paths like that. So I'm going to take a cue from him, from that statement, and share the definition of Brahman. Not Brahma, the secondary creator, but Brahman, or Brahman. Maybe I'm pronouncing it slightly off. So it has an N at the end, Brahman. So here's one definition of Brahman. This is coming from the Hindu thought. Brahman, the unchanging, infinite, immanent, and transcendent reality, which is the divine grounds of all things in this universe. Brahman is eternal, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and indescribable in human language. Brahman is infinite being, infinite consciousness, infinite bliss. Yeah, that's a lot. But wait, Uncle Gilbert, you just gave this pretty thorough description, and wherein it was said, indescribable in human language, yet you just made an attempt to describe it. I know, that's the paradox of all this. It's indescribable, but yet we make attempts to describe it. So I might add that Brahman is according to one school of thought, the impersonal, or maybe more than one school of thought, but it's the impersonal aspect of Godhead, the neutral, impersonal. And of course, you have on the other side, so to speak, the personal aspect of Godhead. A God as a person, as a conscious being, with 2 and 4-armed forms. So we'll get into that much later when we come across, enter installment 5 or so, where we talk about, Dylan talks about tier 5, the angelical realm, and the unknowable supreme being that we call God. Yes. All right. Here we go. Secret societies and think tanks. Now some may say, well, what does all that have to do with what you just talked about with secret societies and think tanks? It has everything to do with it. Because the secret societies and think tanks, they're aware of a lot of this stuff, on the spiritual side, the positive spiritual side. But more often than not, they choose to follow the other side, the dark path, the side of dominance, exploitative control. Hence, their setup here of this world hierarchy with its various layers, financial control, world institutions. It's very interesting. He has football down here under the category of world population control. I remember the famous atheist, Madeleine Murray O'Hair, who was the primary instrumental force, practically speaking, in getting prayer removed from public schools in the 1960s in the United States. I remember hearing an interview, actually I was watching it, where she's lamenting football, you know. It's the new religion in the United States. That was her complaint. Football, you know, she got prayer kicked out of public school. She was happy about that. And I do have to say that was a commendable task that she accomplished. I may not agree with her, right, on so many points, but for her to lead the charge and devote so much time and energy and be successful at it, well, I'll tip my hat, you know, that's an accomplishment. That did not come on a silver platter to her. She worked hard for that. So I tip my hat to her, you know, for a job well done, even though I don't agree with, you know, a lot of her points of view. But she was lamenting, football, new religion in the United States, ay caramba. Right, let's get down to it. Tier 2, secret societies. This is supposed to be silver, but it's not quite silver. That's a little dark for silver. Enough with my critiques on the color schemes. The secret world order is divided into 2 wings. Hexagon group, right here. Hexagon group is comprised of the Freemasons and the Khazarian Mafia. These 2 subsets of the Hexagon group, they control the political, financial, scientific, educational, and media realms. That's where they flex their muscles and dominate the conversation in those fields. On the other side, we have the Octagon group. The Octagon group is the military aspect of this layer. And the Octagon group is the strong arm. This is comprised, for example, of orders of knighthoods stemming from the Templars and Knights of Malta lineages going back a long time. This is what fills the ranks to a large degree. They're decorated with high military titles, and some say in possession of launch codes. I don't know about that, but I would definitely say our various guardian angels and perhaps other benevolent influences have been hard at work these past few decades, steering us away from nuclear meltdowns in the atomic ballistic weapons realm. Of course, assuming that atomic energy in the way it's been described to us really exists, as far as atom bombs and etc. You can find plenty of material online that disputes that. But I don't want to go into that now, other than to mention it for as a passing. For now, we'll just consider, yes, atomic weapons are there and they're real for the sake of this presentation. Both these groups, the Hexagon, which is the political wing, and the Octagon, which is the military wing, they both work towards the New World Order. Special nations, quote unquote, such as Israel and Switzerland, are safe harbors for these high-level white-collar criminals who secretly worship Baal, the dark god Baal, the dark god with a small g, Baal. They worship Baal in secret. And they claim, these dark controllers, right? They claim to have the authority to create international law, to dominate and rule us and control us. So that was pretty short, and maybe not so sweet when you consider we're the ones at the receiving end. And they tend not to use Vaseline either, or any other lubricant. So let's see if we can just point out a few things very quickly here. I did the close-up to begin this, but still, even I have not even seen every entry on here, because some of these are in smaller print, and really, you need a magnifying glass to go over this. There's so much detail here. Take it from me. What do I want to mention? Well, BlackRock, and also their fellow cohort investment company, Vanguard. I'll post a link to a video, if I can find it, that talks a lot about them, how they control literally so much of the world's resources and businesses just by their ownership of stock in all the various companies. So I think that's as far as I want to go, because there's just too much here to get into. If you do a freeze frame right, as you're watching this scan at the very beginning of this video, it'll point you in so many directions. And I'll post as well another couple book links besides the videos in the description box that can steer you as well, if you care to further look into it. But remember, we're just becoming aware of this because we want to understand the big picture, the big, huge picture, the muy grande, mucho grande picture, for our own sanity, so we don't get waylaid by the propaganda that is continually being pumped out. And we just know through prayer, meditation, contemplation, inner silence, we just intuitively know which way to move, where to step, where to draw back, where to dodge, where to go forward, without paying attention to fear. Fear may be there because we're human. We're going to feel fear here and there on occasion or occasions. But we have the confidence that we're on the right path, that our intentions are honest and pure. We're not out to exploit like this group is, that is at the bottom of the structure. We're out to liberate and share. There's enough for everybody. There's no shortage of anything, despite what you're told. So again, keep your eyes open, your ears clean, think before speaking, take a deep breath, and until next time, thank you so much. Be well, stay well. God bless. Hasta la vista. Buena suerte. Om Shalom. Om Tat Sat. Thanks a lot.